Well, a creature from Plum Island is on the loose in the United States of America, and it is biting humans, causing severe reactions within the humans, which, by the way, just so happened to line up with the World Economic Forum's agenda of us eating less meat. No joke. If you guys aren't familiar with Plum Island, it is an island off of Long Island, New York. It's where a government facility resides. It's the Plum Island Animal Disease Center. Now, obviously, there's a lot of rumors and conspiracy theories that surround that island, but basically, a lot of people allege them of doing experiments with animals, making hybrid creatures, and all kinds of things. And what's weird, right, is a lot of crazy looking creatures have fallen up on the shores there in that area, leading to a lot of speculations. Now, reportedly, they've closed down parts of it and whatnot. But either way, I guess a murderer is never going to admit to the crime that they're doing. Therefore, we never will really know the answer. I, for one, think they're doing some pretty crazy experiments out of Plum Island for sure. In case you think it's a conspiracy theory, here is the actual Department of Homeland Security government website detailing information on Plum Island. Plum Island Animal Disease Center. It was from 1954 to 2025. The Plum Island Animal Disease Center served as the nation's premier defense against the accidental or intentional introduction of transboundary animal diseases with PIADC. Scientists have collaborated on a host of outbreaks, preparedness, responses, including the development of vaccines, therapeutical, yada, yada, yada. It was established by the Department of Agriculture. It was operated by DHS, Science and Technology Departments, in partnership with the USDA in 2008, yada, yada, yada. And they talk about some closures of the facility regarding high containment facilities and the whole 9 yards. So rather interesting to say the least. I obviously have a lot of interest in this facility. Here's a picture of it. You can kind of see. And here's just a quick chat GTP or AI overview. The Plum Island conspiracy theory alleges that Plum Island Animal Disease Center, a government facility in Long Island, New York, created and released Lyme disease as a bioweapon in the mid-20th century, right? And while proponents, including our man, RFK Jr., suggest ticks were engineered to carry the disease, which I can't say I disagree with him, scientists and researchers have debunked this. And so they say. Many people do believe that Lyme disease came out of Plum Island. I, for one, actually that my personal opinion is it did, because I'm going to tell you why. Because I think it was a starting point for something they eventually wanted to get to and that was using ticks to make people allergic to meat, because the globalists of the world don't want us eating meat to quote unquote save the planet. In fact, this is an agenda they've been very open about. Here is a World Economic Forum bioethicist talking about modifying humans to make them not want meat. Take a listen to this.
So I'll give two examples. So one is that people eat too much meat, right? And if they were to cut down on their consumption on meat, then it would actually really help the planet. But people are not willing to give up meat. Yeah, some people will be willing to, but other people, they may be willing to, but they have a weakness of will. They say, wow, this steak is just too juicy. I can't do it. I'm one of those, by the way. So, but so here's the thought, right? So it turns out that we know a lot about, we have these intolerance to, for example, I have milk intolerance. And some people are intolerant to crayfish. Oh. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you'll become allergic to meat.
It's almost as if this thing was engineered. When did this little Lone Star tick come into play, and when did it start infecting people with what is called alpha-gal syndrome? Now, unless you don't know what alpha-gal syndrome is, alpha-gal syndrome was discovered and came about mysteriously in the 2000s, early 2000s. Yeah, it never was there before, and suddenly, bang, after the World Economic Forum's agenda, now we have this tick that when it bites you, it causes alpha-gal syndrome that just so happens to make you allergic to meat. By the way, this syndrome never existed on planet Earth until after the early 2000s. That they ended up linking it to the tick in 2007 and 2008. Weird, isn't it? Take a look at this. This is on nyp.org, the Lone Star tick, what to know about the tick that causes a red meat allergy. Goes on to say many people associate ticks with Lyme disease. I think, by the way, before I get into that, I think that was the starting point. That was the experiment to see where this thing could go regarding Lyme disease. And maybe that was the original intent of Lyme disease, because Lyme disease hasn't been around all the time either. Maybe that was the original intent. But obviously they've perfected it, and now it's alpha-gal that can make you allergic to meat. Anyway, that's my side opinion, by the way, but it goes on. Whoops, let me go back there. Many people associate ticks with Lyme disease, but one particular tick that has become more prevalent in the Northeast, the Lone Star tick, transmit bacteria that could lead to another condition, a meat allergy. Previously a southern state dweller, this species of tick has moved north in recent years thanks to warming temperatures. The Lone Star tick is unique in that it can transmit a molecule that causes alpha-gal syndrome, a food allergy primarily to red meat, in some cases dairy products. Between 2010 and 2022, according to the CDC, there are more than 110,000 suspected cases of alpha-gal syndrome identified in the U.S., with one official death linked to allergy. However, the CDC estimates about 500,000 people almost, right? 450,000 people might have been infected by the syndrome during that time, but never sought medical care. And here is the actual Lone Star tick on the far right, as you can see there. But it goes on to talk about what areas they're found in. Along coastal areas, New Jersey, Long Island, eastern Long Island in particular has a lot of them. And as weather has gotten warmer, they're able to survive in new environments. And they came from the south to the northeast. So they're also in the south as well. But it goes on to describe if a person is bitten by one of these ticks and it transmits the alpha-gal molecule, the person may develop an antibody reaction to the molecule. In other words, they'll develop an allergy. This means the next time the person eats meat, beef, venison, dairy, or something made with beef gelatin, they could break out in hives and have a serious reaction. And the foods just so happen to be the foods they don't want you to eat. Here's a breakdown of all of that. This is why I say Plum Island has released a creature and let it loose on humanity, and it is infecting those it comes across. This is the Lone Star tick, and you can see all the little triggers there: the beef, the pork, the lamb, the venison, the eggs, some dairy, fish, poultry, all the stuff that they're saying that we should stop eating to quote unquote save the planet. In fact, there's a CDC breakdown map of where these are most prevalent, and you can see never eat sour watermelon, northeast, north-south kind of portion of the United States of America, and the red ones a little bit heavier of a population when it comes to these ticks. And you can see the tick there. You know the difference between the ticks. I mean, these things are fairly, I mean, they're small, but you can see them. I can't stand them, by the way, but you can see the little dot on the back there as well. Ergo, coincidence, people, just a coincidence, nothing to freak out about. Bam, this thing's never existed before. Now it's in the 2000s. Just so happens to go in line with the agenda for us not to eat meat. And hey, while this whole thing has been released, we now conveniently have the likes of Bill Gates and others making us lab-grown meat. Yeah, you know, 3D printing meat and the whole 9 yards that you and I can eat instead, because they know this allergy is about to become massively prevalent. Conspiracy theory, my ass. Anyhow, wanted to share that with all of you. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Here's my backup channel, my second channel, so please sub the channel. And by the way, if you really want to be in the know, and this is how you get in the know, right? We talk about a lot of things, but we're limited here on YouTube. Get to restrictedrepublic.com. Sign up there right now. Subscribe. Join thousands of others. And I'm going to give it to you right now for $5 per month. Use the coupon code Lisa and the number 5 to get that. We have got some amazing freaking exclusive content. Justice Night's on there. I'm on there. We have a platform which we can communicate on there with people. So sign up for Restricted Republic. See some of the things that you're not getting anywhere else. And we post 5 new videos there a week. So hit that pause button, subscribe to researcherrepublic.com now. Anyhow, with all of that, I love you all. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.